of the strange and the unseen. You are listening to All Things Paranormal Sunday night at 7, the hour where shadows grow longer and the veil grows thin. I am your guide through the dim light corridors of mystery, Gabriel Von Graves, and tonight we take you somewhere extraordinary. Before we open the door, remember to join us beyond the podcast at darkwoodsparanormal.com for all things paranormal. And follow us across social medias at Darkwoods Paranormal on TikTok and Facebook for live updates, investigations, and moments too strange to explain. Of course, I am never alone on this journey. By my side is the voice of reason in the madness, the one who keeps her compass steady. Raven Knight, greetings, my dear.
Greetings. Nice to see you.
Nice to be seen. Thank you. And tonight, friends, we are joined by a very special guest. Shauna, founder of Unique Paranormal 1.5 and caretaker of the house that whispers with both history and unrest. The Doss House of Loretto, Pennsylvania. Built in 1810, the home carries a weight heavier than its stones. Shauna, tell us a little bit about you and what it is that brings interest in the Doss House.
Well, the interest in the Doss House has kind of spoken for itself. It's been open now for a year. We opened this location in honor of my late mother, Holly Cataldo. This has just been a process. This has been my grief journey.
That's awesome.
Probably the biggest loss that I've encountered so far, having to take care of, your mother until they pass away, was definitely very challenging. And,
absolutely.
It just comes to a point. There was a saying that I heard that really resonated with me that said, you never truly love someone the way you should until you can't.
Absolutely.
So doing things in her honor, chasing after dreams that she had that she could not fulfill has been very humbling and healing for me. So therefore, Unique Paranormal 1.5 is continuing on, and the Doss House was purchased in her honor because she wanted to own a haunted location.
That's amazing.
I love that you took some grief and made it into something special, and made it into something that you can, I guess, bring her legacy to life a little bit more, and also kind of do what she always wanted to do. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of in turn has even taken it a little step further. It has become a place for me, my wife, our family in general to, remember loved ones. We've placed things in the house from her loved ones that she's lost. Obviously my mother. So it's become a very special place, family wise. We're most recently learning that when people come to visit, family members are actually coming through for them for the first time. And I think it's because it has that foundation of family there and true purpose of why the doors opened, why this is happening, which is super awesome.
Can you talk a little bit about now, your mom and some of the things that she did? What I understood is she seemed like she was a little bit more, I don't want to say sensitive, but that's kind of the vibe I was getting when I was reading about her and some of the things she was doing in the paranormal field. So if you could kind of tell us a little bit about her and how you learned from her.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, her whole life, she had abilities, psychic medium abilities. Of course, in her earlier years of life, that was not accepted. Which, we can talk about later, which is leading to our next journey of purpose. So she didn't feel comfortable expressing that she had these abilities until much later in life, when she met some amazing friends over on the East Coast near Westchester that were, also mediums and paranormal investigators. And this was probably about 15 to 20 years ago. And that was all she needed, the love and support of the paranormal community to give her that backbone to know within herself that she, everything was where it was supposed to be up here, and not the stigma that society had placed on her. And she ran with it. It became like almost more important than her children, I guess you could say. Like she dove in head first, and it brought her so much joy. And 15, 20 years ago, seeing my mom go through all these things and go to all these events and do all these readings for people, I was that young pain in the ass kid that was like, my mom's full of crap, like just she's doing her thing, just leave, but when I became a young adult and actually started going to do things with her, or we'd stop at random cemeteries on the side of the road, and I was able to see what she was doing and why we were there, and stories actually coming together and watching her give validation to people, and then actually going on an investigation with a team with her. That was it for me. It was like tattoos. I was hooked. That was it.
It was like tattoos. I've never heard that. Love it.
Oh
No, it's true.
It is.
It's
so
100% true. You get one, you got to get a couple.
Yep.
And I have no tattoos, and I don't know. We've looked a couple times, haven't we, Raven?
We
I
have.
haven't found one I wanted.
Every time we go.
I look at all those. I love it. Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, and the journey just continued from there. I got to meet some awesome people, and one of our biggest things that we did every year, as of recently, quite a few last year, I think 7 or 8 years now, is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash.
Oh, that's cool.
A lot of her very closest friends organized that and run that. The 1912 historic Hoover House was like her home away from home in Waynesboro. So like now that family I've been blessed with them being my family now. And that was just one of the things, and then I'd go on some investigations. Like she was living on the East Coast, so it was tough to get together for this stuff a lot, but there was a couple things we made sure we always came together and got to do together. And so we are still very much a part of all of those things.
I think is absolutely cool that you're carrying on your mother's legacy. That's phenomenal. It says a lot about you and your mother. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
What can you tell us about the Doss House?
Well, there's so many things. There's so many things. We truly got lucky with this place, if I'm being 100% transparent about it. So the Doss House, and I hadn't known really at the time, Danielle had been looking for a haunted location for almost a year to buy in honor of my mom. And like driving me crazy looking, right? Like, like every weekend we're driving around just looking for a haunted place, like crazy stuff. So she tells me one day her aunt had called her and said, hey, do you want to run over and get a mantle out of your pap's house? And she said, well, of course I do. He made it. We'll go pick it up. So she tells me, we're going to go pick up my pap's mantle and bring it back here. And I'm like, okay. So we're driving there, and I'm like, I'm not feeling well for some reason. And I'm just like, something's weird. Like, where are we going? Like, we come into this town. I had never been there, but now I'm in awe because there's so many beautiful things in this tiny little quaint town in the middle of nowhere, right? And we pull up to this house, and I was like, where are we? And she's like, this is my pap's house. And I said, are you kidding me right now? And I don't think she really knew how to respond to that in that moment, because I mean, if you see the Doss House and you know what the Doss House looks like, you understand. I said, Danielle, you have been looking for a haunted location in honor of my mom for over a year, and this place is in your family? And she was like, oh my God, like I never thought of that. She's like, I mean, because once her grandparents had passed away, she'd never revisited there. And at this point, it had been abandoned for almost 3 years. So I was like, we got to get in here. Like, she's like, well, my aunt's on the way, so I can get the mantle. So I was like, okay. So we're like, and you can tell Danielle is very gifted as well. And she's like, all new things now are coming to her. And she's like, kind of like in the fog that happens, and walking around the house and doing the and I'm like, okay. So her aunt comes and we go inside and it's a whole new level in there. And so fortunately for us, she didn't want anything to do with it anymore. The last sibling who was in the home was placed into an assisted care facility. And like I said, the house had been empty. The entire house was hoarded out. And I guess it had sat for so long because her aunt it was too overwhelming, too many emotions from the history of the family being there, that she just wasn't ready to take that leap. So we went in and we said, hey, okay. Danielle's like, I want to buy it. And she wanted to buy it for her family purpose reason, not for, I said, well, whoa, let's investigate. And we did. A couple nights later, we had a couple team members together. My good friend Beth, my daughter Chloe, Danielle, Beth's husband Brent, huge skeptic, like non-believer, like he's gonna make sure if anything happens, he's gonna prove us wrong, right? So we go in there the first night. It was crazy. You know, we're bobbing and weaving in between things, trying to find a clean place to set. We're in the living room, which is the original structure, which was built in 1810, which also was the very first building to have even been built in this town.
Wow.
We didn't know that at the time. I just know it was creepier than shit in here, and I didn't feel good. So as we were getting some clean places to set, it literally sounded like a shotgun went off under our feet in the basement. The floor actually rose up. I saw Danielle rise out of my peripheral. Everybody kind of froze and looked, and Brent jumped up, ran out the front door, because at that time the basement steps were completely hoarded out. Danielle followed. They ran around, went in the basement door, had to climb over the front basement stuff to get to the back basement of the original basement, because like I said, the whole place was hoarded out, to discover that the old basement, there wasn't a single thing in this basement. Nothing. Not a box, not a like nothing. There was nothing. Went in, checked. There was nobody in there. They thought, well, maybe there was a squatter or somebody had made their way in. Nothing. He checked every single beam down there, every post. No scientific, logical reasoning for that to have happened. And then he was like, well, maybe the house is just settling. It's been empty for a couple years, because everybody's original thought was a beam snapped and then the end of it came up and hit the floor. Mm-hmm. No, did not happen. So as the night continued on, we continued to get more and more evidence. We were able to back up with factual. It's Thirsty Thursday over there for Gabriel.
Thirsty Sundays.
Needless to say, we bought it, and got in there, got her cleaned up, got some people in there, and we disclosed the information about Danielle being associated with the house at first, because we wanted the Doss house to make a name for itself, without any influence whatsoever. With the intention of what it was bought for, and it has done that all on its own. And here we are. And the level of energy in this place, I mean, you get super low vibrational energy and then to a super high vibrational energy. Again, I'm not like, I don't claim any certain things or whatever, like people see all over the internet and certain, clickbait YouTubes are like, oh, the demon house, or oh, this, or, but like for us, we have so many positive experiences in there, such as we had a dance party in the barbershop with intelligent response SLS activity. We've made connections with pieces that have been brought into the house, being able to confirm the information we got, for example, the bed upstairs. And like I said, most recently, groups, family members are coming through and communicating with them while they're there. And everybody's like, it just blows my mind because it doesn't happen. Right. So yeah, there's lots of good energy in there, but there are a couple spots, there's some not so pleasant energy in there. And that's for everybody to decide what it is to them.
Can you go into the history of the Doss house? We understand that your living room was the living room was the first structure in that area, but has there any recorded deaths? Any other activities from its past that would explain the present?
Yeah, so basically, originally, this was land of 4 Native American tribes. Don't ask me what
Mhm.
they are because I'm horrible and I can't remember what they were, but there was 4. I can tell you that. There was 4, and Prince Galitzin was originally from Russia. He came to the States in 1799. He pushed these 4 Native American tribes out, and he claimed this town as his own and named it Loretto. Um, he started to then, he was a priest. He was the priest of the town. He built this structure, we're assuming, as like the meeting house while he plotted the land for homes. He later on then was working with Charles Schwab himself, the Man of Steel from Pittsburgh. His mansion is at the opposite end of town while he built his church and plotted these lands. Now, the house itself wasn't established to be a residence until I believe it was right around 1843. And because there was no documentation from 1810 to 1843 when it then became a residence. And it was the first structure. So it's literally probably like a 20 by 30 main living room with the basement underneath. You could tell there used to be like an outside wood burner on the outside of the structure. To then later, there was a dining room put on in the late 1800s. Since the foundation of that part of that basement has had to be replaced because it was literally falling off of the back of the house. So that was, brought back up and resituated. You have one main bedroom upstairs that was a part of the original structure. Like you could tell it was a space that was put up there, but the ceilings, they come to a point up there. And then there was a small little washroom off of this room, that they would have to boil their water. Obviously no running water or anything. So that's what it was originally. Then you had the early 1900s to the right of the dining room. The kitchen was built on. Still no running water at this point, but an actual kitchen was built on to the building. And then the mid 1900s was when Doss built the barber shop. Now the barber shop was originally its own entity. It was not attached to the building at all. Until later on, after Doss had passed away and then his wife fell ill, their children attached the 2 buildings together with a rampway, and that's where she was, her final days and taking care of her because she had become bedridden. It was easier to just have her over there because then there was a restroom there. They put a stand-up roll-in shower over there for her. Doss, he had actually passed September 11th, 1983 in the living room. And then later, his wife passed away as well. We haven't found any other documented deaths in the house. But we do have record of a Dr. Foff who was there, who was the town's undertaker. We have a Dr. Leo T. Little, who was listed as a dentist, military-wise, but we know back then dentists did all of the things, medical, all of those things.
Absolutely.
And then the property was deeded to 3 women, all with the first name of Mary. We have no idea why, not common at all. So that's been a mystery. And then obviously early 1900s, Doss and his family bought the place and they, up to current. So that's what we've established so far. Like I said, this place is still very new. We just opened it last Halloween, of course, on my mom's favorite day of the year. So this Halloween will be our first 1-year anniversary. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. So we got some cool fun things plans. Thanks. So yeah, that's pretty much what we know about it.
Well, you touched on at least a lot of positive stuff that's happened in the house. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
The positive things?
Yeah, you said people had positive experiences. It's not always negative.
Like I said, like loved ones coming through for them, like that has been like a very healing. Not just our group, but lots of these other groups that are coming in there. For example, my best friend Beth, her brother passed away several years ago, and she's never heard from him. Well, she did hear for the first time. So that was very life-changing for her. And, just certain confirmations that you get that so yeah, that's cool. Watching and hearing what people say, Like I said, the dance party that we had in the barber shop was incredible. Probably one of my most memorable times there in the house. Um, so yeah, and just the fact that people come and they have fun, and you're bringing, you know, you just get to people that love to do this. Like, it's exciting to watch, and seeing all the different things that people get and comparing it to other people, and then fact checking, and the pattern of seeing, all of these things. It's just, this is all new to me too, so I love it. I love
So
it.
you said though, I can't remember. I think it was your daughter's husband.
My
or
friend Beth's husband,
Your,
the skeptic.
okay, your
Yeah.
friend's husband. Yeah, was a skeptic originally, and
I will tell you, he no longer is.
and that was my question.
We have
You
made him hang out with
skeptical.
us too many times. I mean, he definitely is, strong rooted in his belief system, and that's awesome. But he's definitely starting to question a lot of unexplained things. He also has had a lot of his family members come through to him, giving information that nobody else would have ever known, not even his wife. So he's definitely checking his boxes and checking them twice.
When you say people had family members coming through, what form, what instruments are you using to present that?
Psychic mediums, for one.
Okay.
Like I said, my wife Danielle is very gifted as well. She's always with us. All of the tools that we use, whether a voice, the spirit talker box thingies, whatever those things are called.
I think that's his official name, by the way, the box thingy. I like that. We are naming it. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. A lot of SD sessions, a lot of things like dowsing rod sessions, the yes nos, but a lot of audibles too, and just these, we have a lot of psychic medium friends that have been to the house, who have never met certain people or my certain friends, and these things are coming through. So it's pretty cool.
That's actually a good question you had, because I was going to ask something along the same lines of what kind of pieces of equipment would be your favorite to use when you're doing these kinds of investigations. Like, what do you think is one of the more believable
For me,
pieces?
my first and foremost walking in somewhere first is obviously making sure I'm protected first and foremost, because you never know what you're going to walk into. It is my own intuition, my own feelings.
How do you protect yourself, if you don't mind me interrupting you?
Oh, sure. We do a lot of crystal work. We make sure we're loaded up. I have a St. Benedict's here. I do a lot of meditation, just grounding. And to me, it's just humbling your mind and accepting that, anything is possible. There's higher vibrational and there's low vibrational. I'm not, and to each is their own. I take this as an approach to, and I think some people would agree, if you lose someone that's so close to you, if there was even the slightest possibility to speak to them, even for 2 seconds, what extents would you go to be able to do that? So seeking light energy, loved ones, acknowledging that dark energy does exist, and knowing that, I'm very emotional. My senses are always wide open, and I know that these things will take advantage of that every chance that they get. Making sure that I'm confident in myself and holding my boundaries to seek out that 2-second possibility is what I know needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you mentioned that your mother, rest her soul, of course, had psychic abilities. Is that correct?
Like psychic mediumship, she was more of a seer. I know there's things like clairs, and I'm not educated in all of that.
Right.
If we're being honest, I'm not.
Right.
But she did. She would do. I would see her do readings for people about things that they were struggling with, or someone that they had lost. And there was one incident. A good friend of mine, my mom didn't know this person. My mom was living in Westchester. I was in St. Mary's. She had never met this person. I never talked to her. I worked with her. And she did a reading for her just on the fly. This friend stopped by, And my mom, would just say, somebody's coming through for you. Is it okay? I don't want to offend you. I don't know what your beliefs are, but they have a message for you. Would it be okay if we sat down and talked about it? And my friend was like, absolutely. Like, of course. And her family had just recently suffered a huge tragedy, and my mother nailed every avenue of it. So,
Wow.
yeah, she was very, very gifted and very talented when it came to that kind of stuff.
Are you comfortable if I ask you a few questions about your mother?
Absolutely, 100%.
So, Raven and I have a theory, and this has been kind of backed up with talking to other people that are in the field, paranormal
Yeah.
field. Did your mom experience a lot of near-death experiences throughout her lifetime?
She did when she was in her early 20s. She nearly drowned.
Okay.
In Michigan, where I grew up, there's a lot of lakes there.
Yeah, beautiful area.
She was actually skiing, and when she, bit the dust, she got tangled up in some seaweed, and
Oh,
she
wow.
had gotten pulled under and actually lost consciousness and all of those things, and had ever since would never step foot in another lake ever again. But that is the only incident that I'm aware of.
It's very interesting.
Do you know about what age, did your mom ever mention, about what age did she start realizing that she had abilities that were out of the norm?
She didn't talk about it much because it was very much a trauma for her because
Absolutely.
of how her family and some close family friends treated her when she was younger, and she would express these things, because back then this stuff wasn't accepted. You were, put
Oh,
sent
you're
somewhere,
isolated.
or
Yeah.
you were sent somewhere, or
Demonized.
you were put on
Absolutely.
medication, or
Yep.
she just internalized and dealt with that her whole life until she was, like I said, out on the East Coast. She didn't really talk about it a lot. She would say things at home occasionally, and she would always, have crystals and do her little meditation stuff that she felt was right for her. But she stopped talking about it most of her life until later on because she just couldn't handle the ridicule.
Right.
Nice. And say, like, we've found that, the paranormal community is just such, for the most part, a very welcoming community.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
love
Yes.
being part of this community because, it gives people a voice. It gives people a chance to be able to say, I've had these experiences and this is what's happening to me and this is what I feel and this is what's going on. And there are other people out there that are in the same boat. And what an amazing community the paranormal community is. I
Yes.
just want to say that.
Very
as well.
welcoming. Very welcoming.
Very welcoming.
100% agree with that.
Your mom was able to find them and then find her place, in that community is just so wonderful. I mean, I love the fact that was something that she was then able to, be herself and live in her own
Absolutely.
skin.
And she did say when she stumbled across this group of friends, like that day changed her life. She always preached about divine order, and oh man, like all the time. So she knew that came into her life right at the right time, and it changed her life. And she was happier, and she could be herself and express herself. And surrounded by all of these people, you definitely visually saw the change in her.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Which was, I was going to tell you earlier, which is that whole monologue of that happening is what is now leading us to our next mission in all of this. We are actually working to collaborate to put together a platform for people who are struggling or are being, ridiculed or bullied because they have abilities. They don't have anywhere to turn. They don't have any advice. We're trying to put together a safe space for people to turn. We're going to do
that's fantastic.
like a community roundtable, and lots of people at our disposal to give because everybody's different, right? Everybody has different things that they need to learn and put into place. Like, so building this panel of people that no matter what the avenue of help is that is needed, we can help that person navigate through all of these differences and changes and try to make a positive impact, because the when you look into and I don't remember the exact numbers when I went down the rabbit hole, but the rate of people who are no longer with us is so high because they were convinced that they were crazy, or they didn't have any type of support system, that they decided they couldn't do this anymore. Even if
Absolutely.
even if we can change that by a percentage of a percentage of a percentage, even if it's this small, it's still this much bigger of moving towards the positive.
Well, you guys
Totally
are doing great
agree.
things. You're doing great things, and I
Thank you.
absolutely love that, and I commend you for that so much.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will tell you, even as hard as it was losing my mom, losing her definitely changed me as a person. I was not this humble. I was not this giving. I was not this seeking after, just doing good and being the best that I can for anybody and everybody all the time, even at my own expense. And that pisses my wife off. But I feel like, because prior to even losing my mom, how you just get in the monotony of life and you're just rolling through the motions and you really don't feel like you have a purpose and you're just doing what's needed, right? That's how I was prior. And I tell everybody all the time, it was like, this was my mom's way of giving me one last gift, and now feeling purpose and doing good and just spreading love everywhere that I can.
That's very, very special. You're a wonderful human being for doing that. Well, I know when I was younger, I experienced things, and there really was nobody to turn to. I'd say within the last 20 years, I think society's gotten a little bit more used to this kind of stuff, and now it's mainstream, right? I mean, now it's perfectly normal to be able to talk about this stuff. But there was a time that it was a little taboo. Absolutely.
Oh, and it's still there. Like, trust me. Like, so the Doss house is set in the center of a Catholic town, and we have gone through quite a few trials and tribulations there, doing what we're doing. And one of the hardest things is that because there's so much ugliness in this world, that people have a hard time taking things for face value and actually believing that you are a person that's trying to do good and you're honoring your mom and you want to do things for the community, and they hear paranormal and that trumps everything, rather than getting to know the situation and the human behind it all. So that's been my biggest challenge lately, personally, because the town is not happy with us, if we're being honest. Like, they are.
Can
not
you elaborate
thrilled
on
about-
that? What kind of roadblocks have you experienced when it comes to
Okay, so
wanting
I'm
to
just gonna-
open up?
I'm gonna drop
Just
the
let
bomb.
it. Just let it go.
I'm
Absolutely.
gonna drop the bomb.
Just
So-
drop it.
live,
Just dropping it.
live, why
So
not?
Just
we-
drop it.
So, as I'm sure y'all can tell, like, my mother loved paranormal, but she loved community. She loved doing things for the children's outreach centers in the community, loved raising funds for charity events. If you needed anything, she was there. She was the person that, anybody who ever sent her a Facebook friend request, she accepted them all. And if she saw that you were struggling and she didn't know you, she at least sent you a message and said, hey, I see you're having a hard day. I hope things get better for you. I'm going to be, put you in my thoughts. That was who my mother was. And she, by all means, nobody's ever perfect. And she was a pain in my ass every day. But her intention to the world was to always do good and bring everybody together. Everybody.
We could definitely need more of that these days.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah. So I had decided just to throw a little, like, a community festival together.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
And I was like, keep it small, get a couple people that meant the most to her here, advertise it to the community, support local people who have small businesses, crafters, any type of vendor, and have that type of day, but also have paranormal involved, because that also was important to her, right? So I organized it. We started small. Well, and then it became this, and then it became this, and everybody, and more people are reaching out that they want to be involved, which is amazing. And I'm so new to this. I was approached by a good friend of mine, and she was like, do you want me to see if Patty Negri will come? And I was like, who? I don't know who that is. She's like, you have got to be kidding me. I'm like, if you think people will love to come and see her, then sure, let's get her here. So like it started like that because I didn't know. I just went to these conventions with my mom and that was it, you know. And then to Santiago Cirillo from The Walking Dead, and it just snowballed from there. So in the midst of this, because I am a very honest person, I knew this very Catholic town. I wanted to be 100% transparent. So I started going to the monthly borough meetings. We rented the community center there in the town. We told the person in charge there everything that we were intending to do, what this event was for, who was going to be there. She was all on board. And, oh, you need to get a hold of the Historical Society because Prince Gallitzin's house is super haunted and you should check that out. I can't be in there alone. And so I started going to all these meetings. They were on board, like the town. They were a little skeptical. But I just continued to go, to be there for questions because, you know, then we start hearing that people are having issues with things paranormal coming into the town. So I kept going. I was there the whole step of the way. And 31 days before our event, we got a phone call. Well, actually, we didn't even get a phone call. We saw some posts online, and then people started messaging us that certain people in the community were posting on our posts stating that this event isn't happening. They don't have permission to be doing this kind of stuff. So we're like, what? We were actually out of town on a group investigation in Ohio. And so Danielle had called the mayor and she was like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? And he's like, I'm not really sure, but last I heard, the community center said they canceled your event. And we were like, what? It's 30 days away. So we then reached out to the person that rented the space to us, and she's like, it just snowballed. Like, basically ridiculing us for our beliefs. We're assuming that the town started attacking her for renting us the facility. It was brought about that there was a comment from the college in this town because I had proposed to the board to hold a hometown hero parade. In a previous meeting, the town's officer had expressed his need for an update on his cruiser laptop, but the town didn't have the funds to do that. So I proposed a hometown hero parade, obviously with medical professionals, firemen, police department, kids dressing up as their favorite superhero or princess. And I said, and with the funds of this parade, we would love to donate that to your police department for their updates to his cruiser. Yeah. So they then said, okay, we're going to get a hold of the college to see if we can line up on one of their side roads. And that was the start of the end of the festival happening there. Their response to the town was based, and this was the words of the mayor, that they claimed that they would in no way, shape, or form support demon chasers, and that they should cancel us having anything to do in that town.
Wow.
Have you decided that maybe you should do something other than chase demons? You know, yeah. Did you and I'm sorry, this is heartbreaking. I mean, you
it was
had very good
devastating.
intentions.
And I felt like I did everything I could to be very transparent because I knew, like, I just already knew. It's a Catholic town. I knew, so that's why I wanted to be 100% honest from the so this was like 6 months of us renting, me telling them everything, and just, you know, riding it along. And yeah, so obviously devastated, more devastated because people just, like I said, they don't believe your true intention and your true nature. If you actually got to know who we were as people, you would know that that was the furthest thing from the truth. They then started, and I don't know who they were. These were just something that a good friend of ours that does business in that town as well. He said that a community member told him that apparently we had a planned seance in the cemetery to unbaptize the dead. And I never knew that was a thing.
I didn't know you could unbaptize once they're baptized. So when you decided to have this seance, how many people were you going to have involved? Was it like half the town? Were you also going to kill children afterwards, or what were you going to do?
So how it was, there was an event planned by an outside event company, and their advertisement was, you know, I always push people to come and see the history of this town, the history between the basilica, the Prince Gallitzin's tomb out front, the cemetery, Schwab Estates and the Mount Assisi Sunken Gardens, and the history of this town alone. blows my mind. Like, I love the history of this town. So I always push that for people. So an event company, they were going to do a tour of the town, and then they were going to have an investigation and a seance at the house. Nothing, and to each is their own. You can do what you want at a private location, but this somehow got turned into that of unbaptizing the dead, and I was just like, what? So it turned into this huge thing. The town canceled bingo. They hired extra police officers. So I made a public announcement, and I said, hey, listen, I'm bawling because I'm just so hurt and I don't understand why this is happening. And I said, I am here at the Doss House right now. If there's anybody who is questioning, like, I am a real human being, come and say hello and take 5 minutes to get to know me. I sat there all night long. Not a single person came, and in this town, you're lucky if you see an officer once a month. Okay. That night alone, every 30 minutes, somebody was driving by. Every 30 minutes. So it was like, it sucked and it was awful. But with that, again, divine order kicks in, and something bigger and better happened that made this event bigger and better, and now is serving a much bigger and better purpose. So I reached out to, actually Ryan with Paranormal Theory reached out to me and he was like, hey, get a hold of the jail, the Old Stone Jail in Evansburg. And I did, and I had a meeting with them, and Dave said, absolutely. He's the owner there. The team that they had there at the time were excited. And we transitioned everything within 30 days to have it at the jail. And it was incredible. It was awesome. The compliments from the guests to the people who came in. I was adamant that this was to be a free event, and it was able to be, and everybody, made some money and made contacts and had amazing times and got to meet some pretty awesome people. To get a compliment from Patty Negri that she said, Shauna, this is probably one of the most organized events that I have been to in the last 5 years. Really meant a lot.
Lemons to lemonade, good for you.
That was the event that you just, was this one the one you just had in, I want to say June?
Yep, it was in June, and we are happy to say we are doing it again.
It will be
June 20th this year. We're going to do it again. We'll see how it goes, and whole new vibe coming through. A lot of same of the return guests. We're accepting vendors again now, and we are choosing. We chose a charity to back up. Last year was St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital.
Oh, fabulous charity! Fabulous charity.
This year will actually be Santiago's Haya Nation for veterans, bullying, anti-bullying, all of
very
these.
Cool. Very cool.
So we're off to a good start, and we're super excited.
Well, if I may ask you a couple follow-up questions, is that okay?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, with your demonology background, how many people have you killed? just wondering.
How many
seances? I would have to kill you.
Oh, all right. Is there any other paranormal groups in the area other than yourself?
There is some really great friends of ours that we've met. Dark Hollow Paranormal, if you've heard of them.
Dark Hollow.
Spirit Seeker Society. I believe they're a newer group. 3 or 4 women. They're fairly local to here. Let me think. We have the Crescent Sanatorium is literally 10 minutes up the road.
Okay.
A paranormal location, not necessarily a group. Like I said, we have the jail there. I think that those are most of the groups that I know really close to where we are. We're literally in the middle of just nothingness. Altoona, Pennsylvania is probably about 45 minutes from us. Johnstown is about 45 minutes. We live in Strongstown, Pennsylvania. It's like cow country out here.
Where you sacrifice cows and eat the organs, I'm assuming. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so how is your relationship now that you've had the fundraiser? Has it changed, or are they still?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way. I'm always here if anybody wants to talk to me. But I did hear rumors that they did regret their decision, and they realized they lost a lot of recognition and revenue that could have brought, more, even just bringing people there, and your town being recognized for certain good things in the end could get you more state revenue to fix your roads
Mhm.
and replace your police cruiser. And, I saw the bigger picture of that.
Hmm.
Historical tours to repair the roads in their cemetery that needs
Absolutely.
repair. You know, um, Donations to the church itself because it's in a beautiful church. So unfortunately, they didn't see that. They were blinded by other things. Um,
Yeah.
so all I've heard is that some, and I'm not sure who or where or what or how many, regretted their decision in that. And you know, sometimes the truth is, it is what it is.
Well, as you know, paranormal
And we're
people
we're still
intuitively
going strong.
are very deep into paranormal and also restoring history, because
Historical
without
stuff.
history there is no paranormal. So
Correct.
I'm very sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
I think it takes a strong person to weather that storm, and you most certainly weathered it
A
stronger.
lot
So
better.
good for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
it definitely was challenging, and we later did find out historically Prince Gallitzin, who basically is that town. He very much did paranormal investigating. He very much did help people who struggled with hauntings. Um, so, like, it's just a lack of um, knowledge, a lack of people wanting to learn or be open-minded or finding out the facts for themselves rather than just insinuating this is the way it is, this is the way it should be, and not accepting everybody for just who they are. I don't care what you do, where you go, what you practice. I care about if you're a good human. That's all I care about.
Yes.
And
Well,
that should be
I can definitely verify that in Raven and I's travel, when it comes to the paranormal, we have met the most holiest people that have
Mhm.
strong faiths in God, in a belief in positivity. So it really is regrettable that they didn't recognize the strengths this would be. So good
Yeah.
for
For
you for
sure.
carrying on.
Yeah.
For sure.
So since we are a paranormal show, would you mind if we kind of talk more about what negative paranormal uh, activities have you had in the DOS house?
Um, lots, lots. I will say, like, and I'm not saying this just because we own the Doss House now, but the Doss House has definitely spoiled us to going to other locations.
Hmm.
Um, something always happens there, always.
Can you elaborate?
Like I said,
Like what is the first thing that happened, and then what is the most devastating thing that happened?
well, my most memorable experience, I think, was the dance party in the barber shop.
Hmm.
My most not so memorable experience, I had my first, I don't know if you call it psychic attack or whatever it was, something that I never experienced before. And this happened in the basement, in the original old basement. I had taken two people down. I believe it was their first time there. Good friend of mine, Sarah, was under Estes, her friend Jay. Um, and I was just sitting in a chair watching them do their thing, just, hanging out. I all of a sudden felt like I was being held underwater.
Oh wow!
And my vision actually was like my eyes were open underwater. I got extremely hot. I felt like I was going to pass out. They said my face got as red as a tomato. Um, I tried to maintain, like I tried setting my boundary. I didn't know what was happening. So I was like, I'm going to try to set my boundaries. I'm going to try to claim my space. And it wasn't working. Um, so they got me obviously up and out of the house. And within 5 minutes, I was fine. Um, I don't know exactly what or why that happened. I believe it's because a week prior, there was a live investigation happening in there with the Blue Bodie. And on the live video that we were reviewing, we caught the image of a little girl down there. And it wasn't until we were reviewing that footage that we realized that this little girl was even there. We've gotten activity from this little girl. There's a whole backstory about that I can tell you about. But
Please
seeing
do.
her, yeah. So seeing her and knowing that we literally walked right in and passed, and how she presented herself, I went in then, not as I always had before, more vulnerable, because I was actually a little taken back. I was afraid. I was trying to understand what this could possibly be. So having that going on and going back into that space, I think is what made me a target. And it took full advantage of that. The Doss house can be a very manipulative space. It does like to play tricks. It does like to try to pin people against each other emotionally in there. That's why I say, like, there's a lot of very high vibrational, but there's a lot of very low vibrational. And that alone, that's probably the worst experience that I've had paranormally anyway in the last 15 years.
Wow. So do you think that this spirit of the little girl would be maybe a trick? I know we've talked about this with the Sally house a little bit, because we were at the Sally house, and they have the thought that the house is haunted by a small child, but it could also be somebody pretending to be a small child,
Right.
you know?
I don't really know. I'm not educated in all of these different levels of how to determine what a specific energy is. I'm just not educated in that. I can just base my opinion on how certain things make me feel. I can tell you this issue with this little girl stems all the way back to Doss. So in 1976, they actually had brought a paranormal team into the house. And we got this information from Frank. He was the town's historian. He still lives right across the street from the Doss house. And he was best friends with Doss, which is the only reason why he even knew about it. So apparently Doss had always complained about a little girl in a green dress that was very mischievous. She was just always causing trouble, making everybody feel a certain kind of a way. So we're guessing that this was so troublesome, they felt like the only option was to bring somebody in and try to figure it out. And they did, and it was Catholic town. They kept it very hush-hush. Frank knew that this team came and gone, and he waited a little while just to see if Doss was going to be forthcoming with the information, and he wasn't. So Frank said, I had to ask him. And all he said was that they found something not so pleasant in the basement, and they made sure that it stayed there. And they never spoke of it again.
Wow.
So as we're thinking of all of these things that have happened, all the way back to the very first day that we were there, of investigating that big bang in the basement, and there was not a single thing in that space. Little bells started ringing. So, I mean, connect the dots how you will. I still don't even really know. I just know I don't like that space. Everybody.
So you're not going in the basement.
I very rarely go in the basement. Some people have no issues in the basement. None. A lot of people do. There's been a lot of speculation about a portal being at this location.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah, lots and lots of people. We did have an incident at the Creep It Real Festival, actually, 2 professionals that did private investigations and seances at that house. 1, Patty Negri, 2, the Blue Bodie. Both encountered a crooked neck lady during their seance, which Patty or Bodie believes that this woman is kind of like a gatekeeper. To kind of regulate the comings and goings, and they do think there is some type of highway in there. Of course, neither one of them professionally would say it is this or it is, and respectfully so. But collaborating with several, I mean, we've probably had over 100 groups in there this year, and I'd say a good 60% of people that have abilities all feel that there is some type of highway in there as well, and have seen this so-called crooked neck lady. So yeah, it's very interesting how this vibrational energy is coming across very similar to lots of people.
What significance do you think does the crooked neck lady have? What is it that you think she is, or what? Why does she appear crooked necked? What significance is that?
I know there's like a myth behind this, and when when there was the seance on Friday and it was described this way by that professional, and then the second professional had no idea what had happened the night before and experienced the same thing. I don't know the association with the crooked neck. I know people say, oh, there's a logic, and she's a this and she's a that. I don't know. All I can say is people were kind of a little frightened and taken back. But then a little, minds were set at ease when Patty explained it in a way that, if there is a portal or a highway here, there's always a gatekeeper to keep things in order, of the flow of traffic. Like I said, I am not educated in this stuff at all. Like, I'm hoping somebody who is in all of these things will eventually come out. I would love to learn all of these things, and the possibilities of what could be, or I just don't know. That's why basically, I explained to everybody, there's low vibrations, there's high vibrations. I am not an expert in these things, so these are the things for you to figure out. And like I've said a million times, like, to each is their own. I do not judge you on what end of that spectrum of vibration you're after. That's not for me to do. So I don't know.
I have to ask, has it been, or have you heard of any instances where people have said that during different times of the night that the energy shifts and changes in that space?
Yeah, and I think that plays a huge part anywhere, like anywhere that there is actually paranormal activity, because they call it like the witching hour and things like that. But at the Doss House, it's weird to me. Like, we get even a ton of activity in the middle of the day. I think that's a misconception too, that people think, oh, we only can investigate at night. And
what's there at night is there during the day too. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, it's all the time. So no, I don't think it matters.
Okay. I was just asking because if it was like a portal, right, where like sometimes something we've had that, and I'm asking, and Gabriel knows I'm asking, we had that happen at the Sally house where it was very, there was a spirit there. It wasn't threatening at all, and then all of a sudden it just shifted as if somebody else had entered that space.
Or a door has opened or something.
And it was completely different.
Looks like we might have lost her, but so it seems like a very interesting house. I think it seems like there's a lot of stuff going on there. I would take a stab in the dark and say that there are portals in that home.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, with this, if it changes and people are getting different experiences.
I was gonna say before my internet decided to suck, but like I said, we're in the middle of nowhere out here. I think a lot of the moon phases and stuff, like astrologically, play a huge part as well. Because we have recently noticed, like, when there is a new moon phase, activity is really heightened.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know, like, with a full moon and just a regular day, that regular people are crazy. So, I mean.
Yeah. So,
it was like, is there a full moon? Because people are being a little.
I'm curious because there's actually a group in the house tonight, and tonight is a new moon and something, and a partial eclipse or something. Yeah.
Or, yes.
So, yeah. So I'm curious to see how their night goes tonight, just because I log a lot of things. I log how people feel once they've booked the house, how they're feeling. I log how people are affected on their travels to the Doss House, because there was a lot of people who were telling me. So I've started logging all of this, to then how they feel when they're at the house, how they feel when they're leaving. Because a lot of people were saying they're coming and they're sick on the drive and they have to pull over. Tracking like what people's belief systems are, to see if that triggers a way that the house might be affecting them.
So do people dream about this house before they get there? Do they dreams afterwards? Elaborate a little bit more when you say you log things. What is it that you are logging?
I should have brought the book down. But like, so for example, and I don't think she'll mind, she's a good friend of mine, Ashley Moreno had a very, vivid experience in the house. She dreamed about a specific thing happening in the house. She called me when she left. She's like, I felt like this was so real. I was like sleeping on the couch. She said, I can show you exactly what this man looks like. And some things occurred to make a situation very uneasy. So when I had sent her a picture of a situation that was uneasy, she was very taken back that this was the person she was seeing at the house doing this. So just one example of that.
What situation was uneasy? Can you elaborate on that?
I mean, I don't really want to tell all of her. It was another individual who was coming to the house and unalived a lot of people in the house. She had no idea about who, she didn't know who this person was. She was just telling me what she was experiencing, what he looked like, what he was wearing. And I had just seen this individual and felt the need to send her the picture. There was just a lot of things that were happening with that certain individual that was making a lot of people feel very uncomfortable and very unsafe. And when she confirmed that that's exactly who she saw in this vivid dream or whatever you want to call it, yeah, definitely weird, creepy, not a risk anybody was willing to take then at that point. But that's like the extreme level of it, right? We've noticed that the house interacts with people in their sexual orientation, and like Danielle and I are a same-sex couple. Like the house, obviously, because this is our family house, is okay with us, but we've noticed that other same-sex relationships that have come in there, verbiage changes, attitude changes, nasty things have been said, compared to a great friend of mine, new friends of ours, Sean and Courtney. He is African American. The house treats him a certain way. So just like humans, just like the human world, and he's very open-minded about that. And he understands when he goes in certain places, like he communicates that way. And he said, he understands that a lot of spirit isn't going to be accepting of him. And does this bother you? And, we get all wide ranges of all different things. Like I said, I love, like, this is paranormal research to me. And at the end of the day, this is all just paranormal theory. We are never going to be able to prove any of this, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the differences of whatever sexual orientation, it's the first time I ever heard a story that, anything ghostly really cares. I think they lose that aspect of it once you cross over, right? I mean, it is what it is. What exactly is being said? What exactly?
Just like certain spirit talkers, EVPs capturing different types of words that aren't always coming through. Now, see, my theory in all of this is too that even though it's not a direct spiritual energy, I do believe residual energy can also create that effect on individuals as well. It doesn't necessarily say my mom is telling this person, I don't like you because you have red hair and I like blonde haired people. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that people who lived in that home, who were a part of that structure, did live that way, and that energy still resides there.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I really do. Yeah. Very interesting.
It's possible.
I think it's possible. And like you're saying, we don't have any answers. We don't know.
Just trying to make sense of why these things possibly could happen, because it does, and it is. And why is the house affecting certain individuals and not others? Why is the house more active and nasty to some groups and nothing to others? So those are all, and these are just examples that I'm using of little, bigger things to cross reference to other things. These are just things that I have noticed has caused a shift in the energy of it.
I would love for you to, eventually take the logging that you're doing and all the research that you're doing and make this a book. And then we can all maybe compare notes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's, you are doing the work right there.
I only started doing this because a friend of mine, Larissa, I was telling her, like, as time was going on, like, wow, this person's experiencing this. Like, I'm seeing a pattern of people showing up feeling a certain way. or things happening to them the week before they come that is just totally out of the ordinary, or having dreams about what to expect at this place. So she's like, Shauna, just start logging everything. You know, people who want to participate, you know, offer them the questions. You know, you're logging, you're trying to keep track, you're researching why things are happening in a certain way. And if they're willing to participate, awesome. If they're not, awesome. You know,
Right.
so I've just been slowly keeping track and trying to just monetize what, how or why, and then keeping in, you know, there's always so many different factors. I mean, it could be as simple as you get a group that goes in there and like, yeah, we're here, this house is old and it's pretty boring, and they get upset that a picture didn't fly off the wall at them. And
Has that
then-
happened? Have pictures been flying off walls?
No, not no. So
Until you walk in the room, Gabriel.
yeah, and then you get a group in there that's full of energy. They're pumped. They got so much equipment that you don't even understand how they afforded this stuff. And everything's going off the minute they set it down. Like, I believe it was Punko Paranormal. The minute they set up all their equipment, like they were stoked, like they were ready, they were going at this, right? Every single piece of their equipment would not stop. Like, and then they'd say stop and it would stop. And then it would start going crazy again. So I feel that plays a big part in it too. Just your energy that you're bringing in there. Cause I mean, really, spirituality is energy, no matter how you look at it. So,
Is there water near this house?
there is.
Okay.
He's just,
Like when you say near, is it like under? Is there like stream underneath there, or
Not
is it?
underneath that. There is a creek right behind the house in the woods
Okay.
and a reservoir. So there is water. There are Native American burial grounds 3 miles up the road.
Yep.
And like I said, we have there's just a lot of things energy wise in this small little area that is, I believe, is just creating a huge magnitude of different waves of different things to come through there. I even looked in to see if like, was this place laying on a ley line? No, it is not. You know, just trying to figure out why.
What are the basement walls made out of?
Limestone, stacked limestone,
Exactly.
I believe. They're like little like pieces like this, and they're just like stacked up all over.
Is
I
the
don't know
house
how-
brick or wood on the outside?
It is wood.
It is wood, okay.
And the entire structure is log trees.
Log trees. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, wood has energies of its own. You know, and
Absolutely.
it does. It is a living thing. So,
Absolutely.
oh,
I agree.
fantastic.
Gabriel has reasons for asking those questions.
No, I love it. I love it. Like, and send me down rabbit holes. I'm in the, like, I love learning this stuff and the possibilities and being open-minded to, you know, we could all just be chasing nothing, you know?
Has
They
anybody
can-
seen like full aberrations? Any audio recordings that are specific to certain
Yep,
things?
and I am actually in the process of creating a space on our website where everybody can come and upload their stuff, or things that people have sent me. Good friend of ours, Shauna Courtney, full-bodied apparition coming from the dining room into the living room. Tons of shadow figures, lots of disembodied growls, voices, intelligent EVP responses. Like, if you go just Google or go on YouTube and type in the DOS house, you're gonna see it all. Like,
Oh, yeah.
super intelligent SD sessions. Like, for example, the one guy's asking the other guy, he's like, tell me what's on the wall. Tell me what I'm looking at on the wall next to that mirror. And he says, Jesus. And you're like, and he's like, be a little bit more specific. And then when he says cross, like certain little things like that, for me, yeah, it's a lot of those things. that-
Have you spent the entire night or more than one night in a row at the house itself?
No, and I will never.
Okay. Is there a reason for that? I mean, you mentioned, and I'm not challenging you at all. I don't want you to take this
No,
wrong.
no.
I'm just trying to
Um,
understand. You said you're very
I-
comfortable in that house. And,
No,
you know,
I
was
never
just
said that.
curious.
I never said
basement.
that.
She's not comfortable in the basement.
I
Well,
never said
no,
that.
as the owner, you said that it accepts you, right? And then
It accepts my sexuality, I believe. Well, I don't know,
Okay.
because it did put me in a closet once, so I don't really know.
well,
I
tell us
think
that
I'm
story.
just
Putting you in the
being-
closet, that's something
Yeah,
you can't leave
I mean,
out. You got to tell that story.
No, like, but I feel like I'm just becoming more of a familiar.
Right.
And I know the presence of my mother is there a lot. So that's the only part of comfort that I get. But this house scares the shit out of me, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Do you think your
I
mom protects you?
struggle- I do. I do.
Okay.
Which is a reason why about 2 weeks ago was the only reason I went with my wife into the basement. We were trying to test a theory that had happened there. So it was just her and I in the basement. Now, see, and I usually don't do this because I don't like putting myself where where I'm already fearful.
No,
So
absolutely.
it's making me vulnerable. But
Right.
I put my big girl panties on. I talked myself up because my friend has been my good mentor friend has been, you need to stake claim. This is your house. Nothing, and so I tried that. I tried that. And I went down there, and for the first time ever, I felt nothing. I felt absolutely nothing. I couldn't hear it because I can, a lot of times I'll hear things or I'll get little things playing. There was nothing. And then all of a sudden I kept hearing boo, boo. And my mother called me that. And
Called you boo?
Yeah, she called me boo.
Okay.
And in that moment, I knew, because this was, again, a whole new experience for me. I looked at Danielle and I said, nothing is going to happen to me down here because my mother is over me and I know nothing is going to happen to me.
Protective umbrella, absolutely.
So
Right.
I had said to Courtney, who was upstairs, I said, you're going to have to swatch me places because this is not going to give us any answers that we're searching for because I know my mother's protecting me. And so that was the last time I was down there.
What were you going down there to do? What were you trying to challenge? Is
So-
that what you kind of thought?
We were trying to, Creep It Real, the night of Creep It Real, both nights, like those seances for those pretty well-known individuals, I wasn't able to be there because I was at the jail hosting the events there. So this is just, information from our celebrity guests, that how they told me the things that had happened, from the guests who were actually there at these seance tables. So we have a double green bench in the basement. So with having a seance there, the Doss house is so old, the only place we could have this seance was in the basement because we don't trust the structure to put 20 people in one room, right? So and in this space is where there's this mantle that tons of people claim that there's this portal and all these energies and all this stuff. So we set up the tables, and there was a double bench that was placed right at the stairs that come down from the dining room. And our friend Ashley and my wife Danielle sat in this bench both nights. And both nights, now there's a crawl space area behind the bench that everybody feels very uneasy about, but won't do anything back there, right? So during these seances, the best way that these people explained the situation to me was that they could feel an energy building, like not a pleasant area. It was building. And then you would see Danielle and Ashley jolt forward on this bench simultaneously. Now, keep in mind, both individuals on this bench together was probably close to about 500 pounds. And the bench physically moved forward. So, and it happened both nights, several times. The first night it happened so much that literally Danielle had to climb back up, stand up on the bench to climb over the arm of the bench to actually get out so they could push the bench back about 9 inches that the bench had been pushed so Ashley could get up and out. Nobody really could point their finger of what that energy was. They don't know if that was maybe the energy, because then they both saw the crooked neck lady. So it's like trying to put all these pieces together. So the theory was put both the homeowners on this bench, try to stake claim of this place, to put this energy in a safe space to not be able to use that much energy towards individuals in the house.
Own the space, absolutely. Yep.
Right. To, stake claim and ownership of the space, and
Absolutely. Yep.
people and all of these things. And that's how it ended up turning out. I unfortunately wasn't able to participate. Like
Right.
Danielle was feeling all of the things. She was feeling this energy building, and I was feeling absolutely nothing.
And your mom was like, "Listen, whatever's
Yeah.
going to happen is going to happen to my
Yeah,
daughter
and I
tonight."
believe that was because I was fearful, and that made
Right.
me vulnerable. And she was
Right.
like,
She
just
protected you,
let it work.
absolutely, like a
Yeah.
mother would. Now,
Yeah.
I don't go to a lot of seances. I've never been to one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because
was my
this will
first.
probably a lot of this people listening to this is going to be audio. Can you
Yeah.
paint a visual picture of me? You mentioned seances a couple times.
Yep.
How do you go about the seances? Describe it for me, just so I have a
Okay.
picture of what goes on in this house.
So, for example, now I will be honest with you. Patty Negri seance
No,
was the very
please,
first
please
time
lie. We like that better. Yeah,
I
yeah.
had
Go
ever
just lie.
seen.
It's
I
fine.
had never, like I told you, I didn't even know who she was prior. So this was the first time I even participated, because she
Okay.
did this at the jail, at the Old Stone Jail, and at the Doss House.
Okay.
So basically, this is a way for her to open the veil for communication,
Absolutely.
so that she can read people's loved ones. She
Uh-huh.
calls in. She, works very much with the elements.
Mhm.
So she calls in all of the four corners. And I'm sorry if I missed anything up. I'm not educated. I'm just.
Oh no. Just talk
remembering
like
my
you do. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Remembering my experience, like I remember she had some incense. She was like, doing her little thing that she does, calling in the four corners, opening the veil. And then loved ones would come through, and she would deliver messages to everybody at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, there was a little thing that everybody had to do, like raising their voices together as she closed the veil. And that's all. It's basically, making the veil thin enough for communication, so loved ones will come through to her to communicate to everybody, rather than just having a one-on-one mediumship. And you just make it fancy. You put little decorative candles and stuff on the table for it to be fun and everybody to have this nostalgic experience. And that's all. That's all it is to us. That's all the extent that we take it to.
So you're not killing chickens, dancing around with blood, and summoning demons.
Oh my goodness.
Not yet, but
Okay.
you never know what might happen.
Okay.
You forgot.
Ask
It was
the people of
unbaptized.
Loretto; they might.
Yeah,
differ.
that's why I was asking. I just assumed you were sacrificing children.
chickens.
I didn't know.
Unbaptizing.
Yeah,
Gabriel.
yes, unbaptizing.
Get your stories.
Yes.
Get your
That's-
stories.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you
Oh, man.
unbaptized him, then you killed him. I didn't know. It was-
No. That's a whole different thing.
Okay.
That's
All right.
completely.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Yeah.
absolutely fascinating. It seems like a wonderful
Sure.
house. I do definitely think Raven and I need to go there. We
actually
have
am in-
we have an interesting thing with places.
I have a thing
So,
about basements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
terrible.
we don't.
Let me tell you one cool thing. There was
Yeah.
a cool thing that happened. So we put Eufy cameras in there, right? So this was
You put
probably
what kind of cameras?
they're called Eufy.
You
EUFY.
sorry, I thought you were. I was like Bill
Roosties.
Cosby.
There's
What are you
no
doing?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I thought we
You
were
never
doing.
know. I mean, you never know. You never know.
Okay,
He's a little bit more wild than this on a normal, actually.
that's how you sacrifice the children. We roofie them, then you bring them, then I'm baptize
This
them. I
is
get it.
very
You know, the whole story
only-
is unfolding here.
You can only participate if you wear glasses like you're wearing.
There's not too many people that can pull this off as good as I can. You know.
Mhm.
And
It's
I'm
because
all for a human
must
sacrifice. If
know
you
how
want me
to
to come in, no
unbaptize.
problems. You know,
Yeah.
we don't mind.
Don't say that. Don't say that out loud.
We definitely
Oh my
do
goodness.
not want to be involved. Thank you, Raven.
We just
In
got
any kind of
canceled.
human
Thank you.
sacrifices. It just,
Thank
you
you,
know.
April. We're canceled. I've been waiting
Yes.
for the day to get canceled, and it was today.
Well, you're welcome. No, but she's the one that's killing people. I mean, I don't know. Allegedly, of course. Of course, you're not.
We,
I
at
really
Darkwood
think it's
Paranormal,
sad
do
that you
not
really
condone killing people, nor do we.
you really put all this energy into doing good things, and it just seems like you're bullied. I mean, absolutely. Why would anybody object for fundraising that's such a positive thing, like the police department or the fire department are putting on? I mean, it just it really is unreal that you had to struggle like that, and I really think it's commendable that you just keep on at it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean
I
that.
don't understand it either, and I'm not sure I ever will.
That's-
But it basically boils down to everybody's entitled to their opinion and their own thoughts. And their own
Absolutely.
feelings.
Freedom of
And I-
speech.
I-
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am not going to ever, and that's tough. We've come across some obstacles even, in our everyday daily that people, believe a certain way and other people don't agree, and you can agree to disagree and still get along.
Absolutely, you can.
I still try to, hey, you have to understand that somebody's not always going to agree with you, and but we can still do these things. We can still do these things, and we can still, find some common ground. And people can't operate that way anymore.
No,
And
no,
it's unfortunate.
it is.
But I'm gonna try to get through to some people at least.
Well, you keep on trying.
Doing an
Yeah,
amazing job.
just gonna keep trying. And I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes too. We all do.
Will do.
Yeah. It's
I want to know about these
intention.
Eufy cameras, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Goofy.
Yeah. Oofy.
I know we
Yeah.
got distracted
What?
with Goofys.
Yeah.
And
So,
Roofies.
yeah.
Yeah.
No roofies. Just say no to drugs, kids. Just say no to drugs.
Say to no.
Yeah, just say no. So we
Yes.
put these cameras in there, and so again, I don't go to the Doss house by myself. So I drugged my 18-year-old son along with me that day.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop you a second. So you don't want to go by yourself, so you bring your kid as bait. Okay, I love
18-year-old
it.
son.
No, continue.
do.
Continue.
I get it.
Okay.
I am that mom because my mom did it to me. I am that mom.
So there is
and he
human
has-
sacrifices
he's like,
available.
whatever.
I love
And
that.
he's like, whatever, mom, it's fine. And he entertains me, and he goes along. And I had to go in and put the memory cards in these cameras
Right.
so that they would store the footage and all of those good things. And
Right.
Danielle was at work. She was working in Lancaster at the time because she's a traveling surgical assistant. And so she calls me. She knew that we were going to the house to do this. And I had just walked out of the house and was just getting into my vehicle. And she's like, hey, where are you at? I was like, I'm just leaving the Doss house. Why? What's up? She's like, so you're not in the house? I said, no. She's like, okay, well, there's somebody standing in the kitchen right now. I don't, and I'm like, oh, sweet baby Jesus, help me now. I was like, all right, Christian, we gotta go back in the house. He's like, all right.
Right.
Jumps back out of the truck. Away we go in. I hit the kitchen, and I'm looking like, obviously there's nothing. I'm not hearing anything. He's not, he just storms on through and goes to the barber. He's a big, bad macho guy.
Right.
And I'm like, no, there's nothing. And she's like, huh. She's like, walk over to the living room. So we go stand over in the living room. And now she's watching the camera with another coworker of hers that is like, I love paranormal. Oh my gosh, I want to see this. And oh my God, what is that? And as soon as we went back over there, they saw a shadow figure going past again.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, definitely not seeing or hearing anything. So then she's like, okay, but the weirdest thing is, she's like, the timestamp on that camera says that it is December 31st, 1969 at like 5-something p.m. And I was like, everything's through the internet. Like, that can't be possible. So I'm standing there and I pull everything up, and sure enough, the kitchen says that. And as I'm checking all of the other cameras, I noticed that the barbershop says January 1st, 1970 at 7-something p.m. So you had New Year's Eve, 1969, and in the kitchen, and directly next to the kitchen, you have New Year's Day of 1970 in the barbershop.
That's wild.
Weird. So I'm like, okay, that's really weird. I'm like, well, I'm gonna change the SD cards. Maybe we got bad ones. I changed those out. I completely reset the cameras. I reset the time zone. Still saying the same thing. So I get a hold of Eufy, and they're like, we're really sorry. We've never heard of this happening, and we're happy to send you new ones. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, I'll figure it out. And they said their best suggestion was to take it to another time zone, let that set, and see if that matches up, which it did. I can't hear you.
Did you mute yourself?
I did mute myself. Sorry. I said, so
That's
take it to
weird.
another time zone, not 1969, like something more recent time zone. Oh,
No,
okay.
like China.
Yeah.
Like, set it to China.
Instead of China.
The time matches up. See if
Right.
the time matched up, which it did, and then set it back to Eastern Standard Time. No.
So instead, she's just resending. I love that. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very peculiar. Yeah.
It didn't work.
Well, but it stayed stuck. It didn't fix itself.
Huh.
That's weird.
So we left it that way. We actually had a New Year's Eve event, trying to investigate, trying to figure out if there was an event we found nothing in past newspapers, events in the town. The only thing relatively somewhat close, because we kept getting information about a tree. It kept saying stump and tree and snow and all of these things. but the event that we found had happened in November, not
Huh.
anywhere near December. So
Huh.
we were still very puzzled. And that night, someone was there taking photographs with their big fancy camera. Got a hold of me about 4 days later and said, "You are never going to believe this, but this timestamp on my camera for these photos is New Year's Eve, 1969." And I said, "Get out of here." And so I immediately jumped on the Eufy cameras to check them, and their date and time were now correct. So it was like it weirdly, oddly transferred to her camera, which she could actually manually change that back. And we have not been able to figure out if something happened there.
That's very
Wow.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
a crazy story.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks for sharing that.
yeah. Tell us how to how do our listeners contact you? How do our listeners rent out the DOS house?
Sure. So
Well,
we're
all your information.
Yeah, all the
Absolutely.
information.
absolutely.
all the information.
So we
Driver's
do have a-
license, social security number, personal cell phone, all that. Throw it out
Don't bank on
Okay.
my credit score. That ain't gonna get you anywhere.
there.
I mean, it might get you like a toilet paper roll on credit, but that's gonna be about it.
I
That's
remember the toilet paper shortage of 2021.
Oh,
So
man,
that might be
come in
thing.
handy someday. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do have a website. It's the DOS House PA.com. We're always, updating, putting new things on there. We just started adding some history stuff. There's some spots for people to. I said we're gonna allow people to upload their findings. We do have a book in the DOS House that everybody writes in. I'm in the process of uploading all of those. We are always on Facebook. You can find us at the DOS House of Loretto on Facebook. You can either email us on the website to book, send me a message on Facebook. We are on TikTok a lot. Unique Paranormal goes live from just about every location. We're always giving free stuff away, t-shirts. We have so much fun with that. That's a lot of fun for us. From the DOS House and obviously Unique Paranormal 1.5. My wife I think she has Instagram. I don't do Instagram, but I'm pretty sure there's an Instagram. And we've most recently started doing some stuff on YouTube. So we're hoping to build that up too. But yep, you want to book it, just shoot me a message on any of those places. We'll get you hooked up and get taken care of.
Well, we definitely thank you for being here. And so, my friends, another journey through the unknown draws to a close. Tonight, we walk the haunted halls of the DOS House, guided by Shauna and Unique Paranormal 1.5, a keeper of memory and the voice of the restless spirits that still move within those 1810 walls. To my ever watchful companion, Raven Knight, thank you for being here. And to you, the listeners who dare to step beyond the ordinary, thank you for joining us. But remember, this story does not end here. Visit us at darkwoodsparanormal.com for more investigation stories and upcoming events. Follow us at TikTok. Shauna, do you have any events coming up that you'd like anybody to know of?
We do. We actually will be next weekend in Johnstown, Pennsylvania at the WPA Cryptid event. I will be guest speaking there. We will be vending there.
Cool.
Yeah. We're going to be hitting up the Rainworth Lodge beginning of November. And we're also going to be hoping to get over to the cabin at 360 soon. But I think that's going to be about it for this year. It's like, kind of winding down. Can take a little breather. It's been a crazy summer. And we're going to get ready for that festival coming up in June for the community.
I love it. Well,
I love that.
until next Sunday at 7, keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your courage close at hand. Stay aware, stay curious, and most of all, my friends, do stay safe out there. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you, Shauna.
Yes,
Thank you,
thank
Shauna.
you.
Hang
Thank you.
back a couple seconds.